Hey everybody, welcome to the Away from the Rink podcast. This is Gio. Just so you know, everything we talk about here is our own opinion and doesn't represent any organization or sponsor. Listener discretion is advised. If you want to reach out, check the link in our bio or email us directly at afterpodcastofficial@gmail.com. Are you guys ready to rock and roll? Let's go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Away from the Rink, AFTR Podcast, episode 10. Got myself, DJ McGrath here. Got my brother, Giovanni Flaminio, G-Bones. Happy Easter, my brother.
Happy Easter, Deej. Good to be back on. Glad we could squeeze one in here on a holiday. And yeah, man, just riding high from big championship, city championship win, earlier this week. And just super happy for the boys, and it's kind of carried some cool momentum into my own life. So yeah, been a pretty strong week, man. What about yourself?
Yeah, man, congratulations. 1 for 1 on your comeback journey. So
Yeah.
I think you are right where you need to be, my friend. Is in a hockey rink, giving back to the kids. So congratulations on that. I know it went down to the wire. So congrats to you. I'm thankful we didn't have a podcast that night or a couple days ahead, because we probably wouldn't have the voice like you have today, Gio. So congratulations, man. Yeah, I had a great weekend. I got to go home. It was my nephew Ryland's 11th birthday on Friday. So I got to go home to Kindersley, got to hang around with my whole family, which was incredible, man. I always love getting to see my family, and obviously it's extra special when you get to do it the right way and getting to spend time with the boys. They're just growing up, man. They're so busy in hockey and baseball. I know it's a quick transition. My nephew Ryland went to the Medicine at Iceberg Challenge. That's kind of one of the tournaments that's huge in Alberta for 3-on-3 hockey, and it's always packed. I get hundreds of kids, so my parents went up there and kind of checked it out for me, because I got my big mental health 3-on-3 classic here coming up in August. But yeah, man, left here this morning and had a nice cup of coffee with my mom and dad and made the way back, because I love this place, man. Right back to routine, right? It's still something I'm working on, especially getting away from your routine and what you've been doing every day. Go home. I know I'm familiar with my family's house, but it's nice coming back into that fresh routine, back into the studio, hanging around with G-Bones and getting ready to have an important talk, hey?
Yeah, man, and you brought up some good points there, like just doing it the right way, being present with family. Went to Prince Albert last night, with my partner and our 4-year-old, and it was awesome. Just got to show up and be with my family and have a nice meal, and just kind of take a look, pan out a little bit and look at what I do have, and did a little comparison about what it used to look like when I'd show up there under the influence and having to sneak off to keep the part, right?
Yeah.
Keep the facade going. So yeah, I hear you, man. I'm glad you're able to do that. Show up for your nephews, man. And
huge.
I know you don't have kids, but I know your family and your nephews are a big part of your life, and to be that that male figure for them, that influence is so important, man. So I'm glad you're able to do that.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's a good feeling, you got the uncle that they needed. Obviously I wasn't the uncle for them growing up, but now I'm back, and obviously they understand now, and they appreciate me a little more, and likewise. So I am super pumped up with this episode 10, a special double-digit episode.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Today's episode is a powerful one. Our guest, Baeley Malkoske, was born and raised here in Saskatoon, known for his talent on the lacrosse floor and his drive in the classroom. But behind all of that became pressure, pain, and battle with addiction. Today, he shares his journey through relapse, recovery, and what it truly took to rebuild his life. This is a story of strength, honesty, and hope. Bales, how I like to start this podcast, brother. How are you doing today?
Couldn't be better. Yeah, had a nice date with my aunt, my wife, a cousin, and I guess my step uncle, you would call him. But yeah, had a nice waffle date this morning and just good conversation. So like you were saying, how, you go around your family a little bit messed up. They're super appreciative of how I am now. So yeah, just taking a step back a little bit and appreciating everything today. And it was a good weekend, man.
Yeah, no, that's huge, man. And we thank you for coming on. Obviously, it's a holiday and we appreciate it, man. And what I'm loving about this episode is, I know you're familiar with Bael, not mostly though, and you're kind of excited to hear a story. And likewise, I don't know you, Baeley, but I did read your story and it's great, man. And what I love about it is I know you've done it a couple times, and we're going to get into it, but you're 6 months clean here. I remember when I was 6 months clean, man, and it was hard. I was still figuring myself out. I was still in Kinnersley doing it myself, and I was slowly being vulnerable. I was sharing my story a couple times, but man, I could just remember just one day at a time. I know it's such a cliche thing to say, but fuck, man, it's such the truth. How are you doing now? And congratulations, obviously, by the way, that's huge, man. Me and G-Bones are super proud of you. How are you doing, man? What's keeping you staying sober on this time?
It's a little bit tough to pinpoint those things, right? But man, just that connection with others, I think, like you were saying, that being vulnerable. I grew up kind of feeling like that there's that stigma around as men, you cannot feel soft. That was like my biggest thing. Heaven forbid I asked somebody for help ever, even as in simple as like, I don't know, even wiping my ass, right? Really and truly though. But yeah, when it came to that stuff, like I just could not accept that I was different. I could not accept that I was this way. And I've done everything myself, really, and figured everything out myself without much help, really. And yeah, this was a tough one. So, man, it's like that connection with others is the biggest thing. I still, like you were saying, 6 months today for myself. It's the longest time that I've ever had since I was probably 13 years old, since I started. So it's, yeah, the reaching out with others is huge. I still struggle with it today, though.
Yeah, and we're super proud of you. And let's go back, because you kind of talked to us before, and how is that night of drinking? And it was your girlfriend at that time, now wife.
Yeah.
You said this time was a little different of getting sober. What is it? Take us back to that night, because I know this is super important, Baeley, for people listening right now, because I had my moment, Gio had his moment, you had yours. Talk to us about that. What makes it so different than the other times?
So I'll talk about, I had a couple nights like that, right? Like, I think the one that I shared with you guys was when I was back, like when I was 22, I think. Yeah, the first time I got caught in the basement, and it's just like, what are you doing type of deal. But I'll talk about this most recent one that I didn't really share. I was 4 months clean. I just did in outpatient treatment program here in the city. And, I got out of it. I was probably a month and a half out of it. So I'm just at home on EI, not doing anything really. I'm just trying to do anything and everything to keep my mind occupied throughout the day. And, yeah, it was just that one night, buddy, of course. And I'm the guy that the boys always texted, when they're looking for some. So I would, I facilitated that for him, and he's like, "Can you drop it off for me?" And it's just like that lapse in judgment, right? And I went MIA for, I was probably gone a whole day. I'm putting my phone on airplane mode, driving around the city, just messed up, doing anything I can to essentially isolate myself from everybody that loves me, right? And of course, this is like not the first time. So yeah, like you were saying, my wife at the time, 2 years ago, man, she's on her last limb. Obviously I relapsed a bunch of times after that, but that was the last time where I completely just went MIA, didn't care about anybody. But I was just so full of guilt and shame, man. Like, it's like, I can't believe I'm doing this again. So let's just tie one off real good. And then those suicidal thoughts start coming into your head, and it's just never ending cycle, deadly progressive disease that we have here, and it's terrible. So yeah, like, again, I've made some mistakes along the way, I've relapsed a bunch of times, but nothing like that night. And it's still pretty fresh, Yeah, can't say enough about it now.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Baeley, and congrats on 6
Huge,
months, man.
Thanks.
I've been fortunate to walk alongside you in part of the journey, and I know you've gone through some stuff along the way, and just continue to show up, and that's That's the biggest part. Also, just want to say this quick before it slips my mind. One of the coolest things I heard in early recovery, because I labeled myself as less than because of my addiction, right? How can and people questioning me, how can you do this when you have kids? How can you put your addiction and your using above your kids? And it was an old timer told me early on. He said, Gio, you didn't choose to be an addict, but it's your fucking responsibility to recover. And that, I think about that almost every day, man. It pops in my head, and it is my responsibility. You know, I can't change what I did in the past, but I can show up today and do the next right thing to live this better life, right? And so, yeah, I just want to share that on here because I think it's a very powerful message. But Baeley, take me back a little bit, you know, because I know that was a more recent thing, the exchange with your wife, and just that, you know, a form of one of your many bottoms, probably, right?
Yeah.
But the build up to that, I mean, I know you're a sports guy as well, coming through the ranks, and I just was there. You talked about that progression, right? That slow progression. When did you know coming through those ranks that it was starting to get ugly, or that you maybe had a problem?
Okay, so and then this is where it comes back to that very first time I got caught, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like 22. I've gone a full year without junior lacrosse, no sense of hockey. Like I was in university at the time, so I was still playing campus rec, like loved hockey still throughout my life. And this is like the first year where everything is starting to like, I got to grow up a little bit here. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's, you know, there was a lot of pressures from my family. Like you were saying, I excelled in school with very minimal effort and preparation. Let's just say I was the type of kid who I could go out and tie one off and just go all night and then still pull out an 85 in a university class, you know, albeit it might have been like psychology. I don't actually think so. It could have probably been biology regardless. Right. But I have a gift. Grateful for that because man, it's pretty crazy. Like the stuff that I would do. And then you see people working so hard at it too. But yeah, it's that was like the first year, like that first time that I got caught with it after a night of drinking at the bar with, you know, usually I would settle up my doings before. I wouldn't have to find it at the bar or anything like that. But with my girlfriend and all the girls being there, it's very hard. Sometimes you don't have that opportunity before or during the day. Yeah, I found it, and then we're leaving the bar after, and then addict me. All right, I have this in my pocket. Let's just do one on the counter of the bathroom, right next to my room where my wife is. So, and that was like the very first time where, you know, like this isn't normal. And luckily I had a family friend. He's pretty big in the hockey community here. And he took me out for lunch. He was also getting clean at the time too, very fresh in it, but was just talking to me about it. So, and then I was telling you guys, I went about 6 or 8 months with no drinking or hard drugs, but I was supplemented my using with marijuana, with weed, like every day. And I was a chronic. I started out in 17 until I got diagnosed with ADHD a couple of years ago, and that's when it completely stopped. But right, I still wasn't clean. As to your question, that was the first time where maybe it was an issue.
Yeah, and growing up, you were quite the lacrosse player, and you obviously played hockey growing up. How was your childhood growing up? I know you said you have parents. Were they hard on you growing up, and how did that come? Your upbringing, did you get pressures from your family on that? 'Cause I know you said in the academic wise, you really wanted to play lacrosse. You wanted to play lacrosse, and you said that you're going to pursue lacrosse to get a scholarship to help out that family. And you kind of mentioned when that didn't come, how was that for you, man? That's tough, leaving that game. And were you hard on yourself? Is that kind of where your drugs and alcohol progressively got worse? Or talk to me about that.
Okay, let me process that question here. Okay, so yeah, my childhood, man, like my parents, very supportive, loving towards me. My parents are divorced now. They divorced when I was 18, so we're talking 11 years ago, but probably could have happened a lot earlier. I have 2 younger siblings. My brother is the youngest. He's 11 years apart. I think that was maybe an issue for that, and just some other extraneous circumstances. I think that's how you say it. But yeah, in that regard, right, that was like my goal for sure. Like I started out in box lacrosse here in the city, and I started playing hockey around 6 years old when I actually was in Brandon for 2 years, but then I moved here, started playing hockey at 6, started playing lacrosse at 7. So, you know, man, just like a good childhood, I would say. Like I had great friends, grew up in a great community, spent a lot of time with my aunt, who I actually just had breakfast with this morning. And she has a son 1 year younger than me. We were pretty tight. We were like brothers growing up. So lots of time spent with them, man. And I wouldn't say that I had some indirect pressures. Let's just put it that way, right? I wasn't getting told this is what. Actually, I'll rephrase that. That's kind of what it was. Like, this is what you're going to do, right? You're going to university, and like no ifs, ands, or buts. That probably started in high school, right? Like trade school wasn't really a thing. My parents saved a lot of money. My grandparents even had a RESP for me too. The only kid in the family out of my mom's side. There's 13 grandchildren. I'm the oldest grandson, but
so you felt like you had to be the leader and set example too.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's a great way of putting it. Yeah. And right, I tried my best to do that, and started playing field lacrosse because that's where the scholarships are down south. You know, I started playing field lacrosse around 12 years old when I realized, okay, this is like a nice route. Couldn't just like, I played a lot of traveling teams. I went out to Calgary for one fall to play with this traveling team called Elevate. Went down to Maryland to the hotbed of field lacrosse down south. Man, I got some offers and stuff like that, especially for a Canadian, but like only like 50%. I think the highest was 75% from Mars Hill University in North Carolina, a business school. Not really what I wanted to do either. So I thought, like what I was being told, right? My parents, my family, you're going to be a doctor. You're going to be a doctor. You should use that brain, right? But yeah, even at 75% down south, like that's a buttload of money that you're forking forward for the rest of the 25. So I kind of lost it at that, and then just kind of focused on, it was kind of like the love of the game a little bit, but then there's like those aspirations of I could maybe go play pro in the box ranks. And like, man, we had a good team. I had the guys growing up were all my age. There was about 11 of us that kind of grew up playing, and then we all were on the same junior team too. Won the junior B title. That was like the pinnacle of our success. You could say we won a lot of things. I played for Team Canada West in like the IIJL, it's called, International Indoor Junior Lacrosse League. Won that against some guys who are playing pro lacrosse right now. So that was pretty awesome. And then the organization moved up to the junior A ranks. So we were the first Saskatchewan team that I was the captain of the team also. So you were touching on the leadership thing. That was a big thing for me all growing up, you know, and that's just kind of how it went. And then tried to pursue the professional side of it, which didn't come to fruition, but yeah. And then I just kind of let go of that scholarship thing. It sucked at the time, but man, it wasn't like a huge thing. Yeah. It wasn't enforcing my drinking. I think it was just like this is a regular thing. Like, boys, let's work hard, play hard type of deal. Yeah. Let's go.
But it seemed like, correct me if I'm wrong, Bales, but it seemed like your parents probably didn't put this on you, but you had that unwanted pressure from when you talked about you got to be a doctor, you got to be this. You're thinking to yourself, okay, what can I do to get there? I know your parents, your grandparents are putting some money away, but you obviously want to try to do it yourself. You're like, okay, well, I'm pretty good at lacrosse. I'm going to take what I can with this lacrosse, and hopefully I can get a full ride scholarship, get school, be a doctor, make mom and dad proud. You got that at a young age, man. I think that is powerful for you to say that, because I know there's a lot of kids that are going through this with athletes. It doesn't have to be with hockey, lacrosse. It could be in sports alone. That unwanted pressure, maybe their dad or some sibling has been a doctor, has been a dentist, and now they see you, your brain. They see you that you're smart. You don't have any problem in school. We're going to get Baeley. We're going to tell him, let's be a doctor. Let's don't waste your talent away, that don't taste your talent away. That's unwanted pressure that a kid, it's very hard, especially at a young age, Now, Bales, and you said you played some good lacrosse, man. You got to play in Team Canada West and all that stuff. That is super cool.
Yeah.
When you were done, how were you feeling with that? Did you feel any resentment? Did you like, fuck, I let my mom and dad down, I left my family down? How was that transition when you knew that lacrosse wasn't going to be your thing anymore?
Man, it's like, even for my family couldn't have cared less. They did care, but right, like that thought of going pro is so minimal, especially from being from Saskatchewan, right? If you look at the NLL today, the majority of the players are from Ontario and BC. Like it's very full of that. So being a player from Saskatchewan was like so far-fetched, man.
So was there anybody at that time, sorry, but this is interesting stuff. Lacrosse is slowly becoming big. We got the Saskatchewan Rush now. But back when you played, obviously kids weren't playing that. It wasn't so big in Saskatchewan, but Ontario, BC, it's huge. Kids are playing all year round. How were you kind of getting that disbelief at that time? Because you're a small town Saskatchewan kid playing lacrosse. All my buddies are playing hockey, and you don't think you could progressively get better and make a living out of this? Because I'm just thinking you probably had no one to go to at that time, no mental health performance coach, or no one to say, hey, what do I need to do to get to the next level? Am I right? Were you kind of going through that?
Yeah, no, our success on our team was purely driven on hard work, effort, and just pure skill and talent, just God-given skill and talent. Yeah, my coach that we played for in junior, man, like he was the guy who started it all in the city pretty well, along with some other gentlemen that I do know. But yeah, like I wouldn't say the greatest lacrosse minds in the world. Definitely knowledgeable, right? But to make it to the pro leagues, Saskatchewan players are kind of looked down on. And it's because of the coaching, right? You're just already at a disadvantage coming into the pro leagues. Like there has been some kids, lots of kids. There's usually one or two each year that gets drafted from our junior A team here in the city. Whether they make it the roster, it doesn't really happen. I think there's still a couple fellas from Saskatchewan that are on the practice rosters and stuff like that, but they're just so far behind. And majority of them now, they're figuring it out. I can't get to this level here. So lots of the boys are leaving to BC. Lots of them are leaving to Alberta now, is like excelling in their draft picks every single year. So a lot of that is like we're kind of developing a little bit, and then they're seeking out to leave, which is like, man, you got to do what you got to do. But right now we actually have a fantastic junior A coach right now. He's a buddy of mine from BC, played out in Port Coquitlam for the Adenauks, one of like the more storied franchises in junior lacrosse history. He's here doing school, and he's kind of moved his life here, helping out the boys. And it's nice to see for sure.
Yeah, no, that's super cool.
Yeah, man. So, you touched on it briefly, like just you said the drinking wasn't ramped up necessarily because of the struggles with lacrosse or the, the pressures of like getting there. And I related to a lot you said, man, like just with the, people just almost telling us what to do growing up, right? I was the same way with hockey. Go do this. You're smart in school. You're a good hockey player. Go get a scholarship. I don't know if I necessarily wanted to. I did it because that's what was on deck, right? So I really related when you shared that. But, when did it truly progress, man? I want to kind of dig in deep here. When did it progress to where you were escaping? You were drinking and using to escape. Let's go deep. What were you using? How much were you taking on? And like, how dark did it fucking get for you, man?
Okay. Yeah. Like, man, I would say 4 years ago, like right around the 25 age, that's when I started finally like using alone, drinking every day.
What were you using, may I ask?
I was drinking like, let's say 2.6 to 40 of vodka a day, straight, no mix.
Damn.
And about a gram of cocaine a day. Yeah. And then also at that time, for the first couple of years, I was mixing in the weed too. So like I struggle with this too. Like my brain is not fully healed yet. Like the clarity that I have is unreal. But even like being able to talk to you guys right now too is a little bit hard because I'm trying to like process a bunch of stuff. And like I said, man, I had a gift of academics, and I I didn't lose it all for sure, but like, man, it's down. Like, I remember being able to remember stuff like months ago, like to the detail. I almost had a photographic memory, I would like to think.
Yeah.
And it ain't that no more, like by not even close. So yeah, you know, like 25, I would say that's when it started really ramping up, you know, and that's when I'm just like trying to figure out this whole school thing type of deal, trying to figure out who I am, what I actually want to do. And again, at that point, I'm just like kind of riding it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I graduated my undergrad in 2019, and like took me a couple years, 3 tries to get into pharmacy. I finally was like, let's get into pharmacy, you know. I don't even know why. I couldn't even tell you. I think maybe it was the drug aspect. Like I love drugs.
Yeah.
Let's be a legal drug dealer, a legal drug guy. So that was, I couldn't even give you an exact answer of why I did that, but it took me 3 tries and finally got in. And like, that's where I truly, I think, was near my bottom. Went through that whole year, finally my first time in school ever where I struggled. Like, I passed all my classes, barely, I would like to say. I think I maybe had like a 65, 70 average, which in those colleges, like a 60 is a pass. 50 ain't the pass. A 60 is a pass. So, you know, I'm struggling. And like, even trying to study, man, I just like could not do it for the life of me. So, right, I get through it though. And then I get to my summer placement. So in healthcare, right, you do all these placements, they're called, throughout the year, but also in the summer. So I was, they call it the summer placement. So instead of me, and I'm coaching junior B lacrosse at the time too in my summer. Like my plate is so full, and I just needed to speak up and said I needed to stay in the city, right? So for those placements, you can get sent anywhere. But in my case, right, I was like, I want to stay at home, but like if I need to, an hour away, I can drive there. Lo and behold, I got sent to Rosetown. And yeah, don't think I made work on time ever. I don't think there was a single day I did. So long story short, right? And like, I'm up all night going to try and learn, but also work. And right, they test you throughout the day, right? Like, hey, why did we give this person this drug? Blah, blah, blah. What's the indication and all this stuff? What are the therapeutic values of it? Yeah, I can't even come to that, right? So long story short, they failed me. And that was like the first time I've ever failed something in my life. And that's like the biggest time where I was like, fuck, I got to do something here. I can't keep lying. Meanwhile, I'm still trying to manipulate some stuff, right? I'm still trying to be able to use, thinking that I can control it, but I can't, like, at all to this day now that I know that. But yeah, it was a tough ride. So then after that, I asked the college for a medical leave. And luckily, they gave it to me, like very, very understanding of like, hey, go fix yourself, right? But I was under the impression that I'm just going to be able to pick up back right where I left off. No, that's not the case. They wanted me to redo it once I came back. But yeah, so that was in September of, I can't even remember the year, but September. I started trying to work on myself a little bit, you know, doing some counseling, touching into that, dabbling into that, not really getting a whole lot. But my aunt, it's the same one I was talking about earlier, she's like, you know, you should really get tested for ADHD. And I'm like, yeah, you're full of it. Like, I don't think so. She's like, no, like, I think you do. Like, you show exact signs of it. So luckily I went, got tested for that. And lo and behold, I did. Like, it's kind of a relief when you hear that a little bit. It's like, first time in my life, okay, finally, like, this might be what's wrong with me. So I got medicated for that. But like, again, like, drugs, like therapeutics, pharmaceuticals aren't everything. It's not going to cure you, right? So that life goes on, and I'm just like, I'm lost, you know, like I'm still using every day, and like it's progressing to like, I'm waiting for my wife to go to bed, and I'm taking the car and I'm going out all night and then I'm coming home right before she wakes up, and she doesn't even know. Again, I haven't had this conversation with her like a whole lot. It's very touchy for us, right? Especially since we're on the other side of it. At least we think so. I feel it right now. So we don't really, I think she was just naive to it, man. You know, and at the time she was a heavy sleeper, dude. I could have probably dropped a rock on the floor and she wouldn't wake up. So yeah, that was the type of shit that I was doing. And like, just I'm not even doing anything. Like, I'm working here and there. Like, it's just brutal. And then, of course, for healthcare, you need a student loan, right? Yeah, a professional one. So I had a big fat student loan that it was more like they give you it so that you can live on it too. Yeah, all that went to pretty much drugs and alcohol. It was quite aggressive, but kept doing that. Come around April, I'm on like a 10-day bender of just like, and I'm starting to hear stuff, right? Like that psychosis is starting to kick in. Like I'm thinking the cops are coming into my house and like busting down the door. I'm barricading the door. I'm like hiding in the corner, you know, and like thinking
been
about
there, hey?
Yeah.
Oh man,
we've all been there.
Thinking about that, I hate it. But man, it was something in that day. I don't know what it was, but I finally grew the courage to phone my mom. It was like 5 a.m. in the morning too, and I know that she had to work. But man, my parents have been great supporters of me all through it. Like, you know, there's rough patches for sure, but yeah, never. I don't think they've ever doubted me that it was gonna happen eventually. I think they're just happy it's like the worst of it's kind of over, right?
Yeah.
Because now that I have all this recovery in my head, like it's fucking up my using like insanely, right?
Yeah.
So that was 2 years ago so I called my mom, went to treatment. That was the first time I started to really dig into this stuff.
Man, unpacked a lot there.
Yeah.
First, and like when you're talking, I relate with a lot of things. I know looking over at Gio, he's shaking his head. Like everything you're saying, we've been through it.
Yeah.
And we could relate with a lot of the things. One question for you, man, that's obviously deep stuff and you're going through it. Did your mom and dad ever question you during this whole time? I know you had your girlfriend, your wife at the time, but were you one of the guys like myself, G-Bones? I know for myself, I painted a picture on my face. If my mom and dad asked me if I was okay or what I was doing, I would make it up an excuse and basically point the finger at them saying, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Like, I'm okay. Everything's fine. Well, I'm at home self-sabotaging myself and doing drugs by myself. Was your parents ever questioning about you during that time, or were you that good at hiding it?
Yeah, like I would like to think I was pretty good at hiding it.
For sure.
I don't think so though. Like I said, my wife, I think she was just pretty naive to it. She has never been a drinker or a drugger ever, you know. Has drank a little bit, but like even to the extent it's like pretty little. But man, my mom, I would say, was probably the most keen on it. I lost her mother to, it was complications with like alcoholism. She fell, broke her hip, and then she went into sepsis while in the hospital. We're like, what is going on? And yeah, it was liver failure, you know, and then we clean out her stuff. It's just a scene that none of us in the family seen coming. So my mom had like some pretty pre-exposed stuff to maybe think about it. And like, she's my mom. She's pretty keen on how I act. And, you know, if I'm just like off, but there's just like life just kind of takes over. Right. And I have two younger siblings. My younger sister is 6 years younger than me, and my younger brother is 11 years younger. So at the time, like my brother is 14, I think. So maybe 16, even 17.
So he knew.
I don't really know, man.
Yeah.
I want to say so, because on that first night that I first got caught, I remember screaming at my mom. We're in a screaming match at 2 a.m. And I remember my little brother coming into the kitchen and just like looking at me scared. And so my brother's a little bit of a shy kid. He kind of takes on that stigma of no weakness, very hard. I probably instilled that in him a little bit too, just coaching him lacrosse throughout his age, because I would like to say I was his primary coach growing up. But yeah, man, like I would say I was pretty good at hiding it. But to be honest, I wasn't. I want to say everyone just kind of maybe like that indirect way of like you should. Or maybe they were just, I don't really know. Yeah. To be honest, I don't. Yeah.
So, you know, you touched on the coaching there briefly, coaching your brother up a bit. Yeah. And I know it was a big part of your journey. And I know you officiate now at Lacrosse.
Yeah.
But was there, I can only assume the addiction may have burned down the coaching opportunities. What did that look like, man? Do you mind talking about that? Yeah. And like, Are you hopeful you can get back into that side of the game at some point?
Man, yeah, I don't talk about a lot about this because again, it's nice to have some clarity and like I'm able to reflect on my life a little bit. But yeah, and I always just wondered, like, why am I not in coaching again? And it's like, maybe it's because you were showing up to coach the kids high and drunk. Like, that might be why, Bales. And, like, especially in those latter years, like, right, I got into coaching really young, my little brother, right out of junior, and we had this traveling team, and my brother he's my little brother, so he's had a stick ever since he came out of the womb pretty well. So the kid could pass and catch when he was like 2, right? Not every kid is like that in Saskatoon. So, it's throughout that, like, I would have my nights and stuff, but I wasn't like, I was making sure that I was going to the rink ready to go for these kids. Once I got into junior, like 2 or 3 years later, yeah, I could just see like I'm bringing drugs on the bus, like high during the game, but cocaine, it's a stimulant. You're fired up, and like to a point, the boys loved it a little bit, but like just doing stupid shit, really and truly. But I definitely burned some bridges. I like to think. I just think it was probably best for me and for the boys in the community, right? Like, it's stressful coaching, man. Like, it is stressful. There's lots of stuff that you got to prepare, and you almost feel the pressure the most, right? Like, if the kids don't perform, it's like, man, could I have done something different to help them get this result that we all wanted, a win? Again, life's not all about winning sometimes.
Exactly.
Like, it's really nice to win.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely have burnt some bridges. I think the grassroots is where I need to be, just for like the love of the game. And like, when I played, I was very like, I wasn't very good at a lot of things. I had beat a lot of people, and I was better than a lot of people because of my hard work and my effort. Really, I was good. I was like a Swiss Army knife, right? I was pretty good at a lot of things, but nothing spectacular at one. So, my fundamentals are very good in my eyes, and that's where kids these days here, our fundamentals aren't good. Like the passing and catching, the stick skills, when you're kids, just kind of like in hockey, right? We're really trying to work on the stick skill part of the game, right? That's where we're lacking here in Saskatchewan. In my personal opinion, again, there might be somebody out there that completely disagrees with me, but you can't win games when you can't pass and catch the ball and shoot, just like in hockey, right? Yeah. So it's, I think that's where I need to be a little bit, just like dipping my feet again. But man, the officiating takes up like a bunch of my time. This will be my 2nd year, and I think we were struggling for officials, and I have a lot of knowledge of the game, so I got hopped into junior A officiating like right out the gate last year. I have a lot of great mentors in the city here that have helped me, but there's a big jump. It's kind of nice. It's just a different dynamic to coaching.
Yeah, I think that's huge, man. And when you said that you do want to get back in the game, you obviously burned some bridges. Just by him saying that, I can think of Gio's story. I'm just a big believer that everything happens for a reason. And if you want it, man, leagues need guys like this, believe it or not. Hockey, lacrosse, whatever sport, they need guys who have been there, maybe would love to have it back and went the different route, but you have that life experience where these kids need, especially nowadays. You're being vulnerable right now. You could be back coaching, and you could be sharing your lived experiences with these kids, because this is what is needed. Not having a parent being a coach for their son or daughter, but having a guy that's not necessarily related with anybody, but have life experience that wants to give back. Second chances, I'm a big believer on fucking second chances. Us 3 sitting at the table are having second chances at life. So I just brought back memories with myself. I thought when I left the game of hockey in Red Deer, I never thought I could ever be back comfortable at the hockey rink. G could probably relate. Hockey was my life growing up. I lived at the hockey rink. I have 2 older brothers that played hockey, so I was always at a hockey rink all year round, or at a baseball diamond. When I went through my addictions and wrecked my hockey career, I felt resentful. I let that voice take over my head that's saying, Deej, you should not be at the rink. You resent it and everything. Took me a couple of years to finally step in that rink, man, and in my hometown of Kinnersley. And when I did that, I finally accepted my past. I accepted that I belong here. And now I'm back in the ranks doing something and helping kids. So I love how you said that you're still you want to get back into it, but it's that little voice saying about your past and everything. If you want it, man, just a little advice from a guy that's almost 4 years, fucking go for it. And I think a lot of us, I said on previous podcast episodes, that we lose a lot of opportunity by thinking in our own heads what other people are going to think. That little voice overpowering our minds and telling us, no, you can't do this because you did this, Bales. People are going to remember you, what you did back in the day. You cannot do this, Bales. Fuck that, man. Everyone deserves second chances, and all it could take is that one yes, you getting back in the game, because I'm a big believer these kids need to be coached, need some type of mentor that have life experience to be around that dressing room, right, G?
Yeah, 100%, man. And a cool piece, I've shared this with DJ and on here before, like you touched on the grassroots, like skill side of the game. Obviously, that's vital to help the next generation. But for me, 1 year into coaching, the feedback I get, yes, it exists. Like, hey, you helped my son develop on the ice. Thank you. You helped bring a title to the team this year. But the main feedback I get, brother, is you've helped my son be a better man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, holy shit, is that ever humbling, right? Like, I didn't know that going into it, man. I was like, oh, I'm just getting back in the game and maybe have some knowledge to drop because I played at a high level. Like, we sell ourselves pretty short, you know, but DJ's right, man. Like, we have a story, and it's like that lived experience does play a part. And sure, it might just be like, hey, don't make the same mistakes we did, or the do's and don'ts maybe to come up a little smoother, right? Or with less pressure or less distractions. I don't know, but it's just like that's become purposeful to me now because it's actually impacting these families. So I hope you get back into it, man, on that level. And I just know how much the game means to you. So
yeah, that's huge, man. It's super, super powerful you shared that. Yeah. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break with our boy Bales on AFTR Away from the Rink podcast. We're back at the studio by Showtime. Honestly, this place makes everything easy for us. If you're serious about starting a podcast, stop waiting. Book a session at the studio by Showtime. That's where we record, and they'll take care of everything for you. You could reach out to them at thestudiobyshowtime.com. Welcome back to episode 10, Away from the Rink AFTR Podcast. We have Baeley here, a former lacrosse player. Had a story just like me and G-Bones. All three of us, kind of had that past, been through drugs and alcohol. But continuing on here, I got a pretty important question because there's a lot of kids out there who are struggling. We're big about being vulnerable, asking mom and dad for that help. And it's hard for kids. It's hard for sons, daughters to have the courage to go up to their mom and dad and ask for help. Bales, you said you made that phone call at 5:00 in the morning to your mom. You said it was early. You said that your mom has to go to work, but you said it was basically do or die. You had suicide thoughts going on. I want to ask you, what was going on through your mind? And were you having the sense of like, what's mom going to say? What's the aftermath going to be like? I want you to kind of share your experience, because I know this is going to help out a lot of people who were in your shoes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's pretty hard to pinpoint like what was said and how I felt, especially because it was a while ago and there's a lot of relapses in between there. But I do remember calling her, and like it was so scary, man. But like you guys were saying, like probably the best decision I ever made in my life, because that was the start of these last 2.5 years to now. And I called her, and I'm of course her oldest child. She had me real young, like 20, I think. So I've always been pretty much a mama's boy, right? And that's who I called, my mom, right? So it was just relief, man. Like off the bat, I just remembered like finally I'm able to tell somebody about this. And it was not I don't even know what kind of reaction I was looking for, but like it was not that reaction of you're dead to me type of deal, right? We're going to disown you. It was immediately like, and I think why I called her was because she was starting to get hints. She was telling me about like treatment and stuff like that. Again, I can't remember specifics, but like I do remember her telling me like you're going on a slippery slope here. I don't think she knew the exact extent what I was doing, like everyday type of deal. But yeah, just relief and just like love a little bit, and like that just like we don't know what to do a little bit, but we're gonna do whatever we can to help you, right? And like I said too, it was that I had a family friend that knew my auntie and my mom, the same one that I was having waffles with this morning again, right? She's like my second mom, that aunt. All my aunts are very close to me, but anyways, that family friend, they reached out to him again and was like, what treatment center did you go to? Blah, blah, blah. I think my parents forked the bill, and maybe my grandfather, man. Like, again, this is at a time where I've already lost my grandmother. And I think the last thing that, especially my grandfather, wanted to see was him lose a grandson to this stuff, let alone like his own wife. And yeah, man, like it was a quick turnaround. Like when I called my mom, I think it was like 2-3 days, and I went somewhere in Manitoba. Luckily, like my dad's side of the family is from Manitoba, so I had lots of visits and stuff like that on the weekends. Like every single weekend, I think I had somebody coming to see me. But back to that night, yeah, just like lots of guilt and shame, man. And like, to be honest, like the least of my worries was my mom. To be honest, it was my wife, man. Like, and my wife's family, my in-laws, they're not big druggers or drinkers. They like to party and stuff, but like not really druggers at all. And I think that was like my biggest fear was, what is my wife going to say? What's she going to do? Is my marriage done? Mm-hmm. That type of deal. So I think that's like, again, like I'm just so scared. I don't really know what to do, but man, big relief, dude. And like, as those 3 days, we're organizing for me to leave, man, like just so many tears, lots of crying. Like I'm thinking about it right now. It's a little bit tough, okay, right?
Yeah.
I remember my grandpa, like I'm going to the airport, and just tells me, he's crying. I can tell. And I don't know about you guys. I've never seen my grandfather cry other than my grandma's funeral. Grammy, I called her, and I call him Pa. But yeah, he's just like, go get yourself fixed up, man. And it's like, fuck, I gotta like do this, I have no idea what I'm in store for here. I'm leaving home I think I went there for 32 days, and yeah, just the start of it really. But yeah, relief, man, relief. And like I said, just the first time where I'm starting to be vulnerable and open up a little bit, and talk about what's bothering me at the time. Like, I don't really even know why I'm using. I can't pinpoint it. I just don't like life. Now, at the time, I know, like, I just hated what I was, and those external pressures from before and like all of that stuff. So, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, that's powerful stuff, man. And just how it's interesting, like, because all our stories are the same, that when you reach out and it's like, I think everybody has that person, right? For me, it could have been either of my parents, but for me, it was my dad. And DJ knows the story, like gas station parking lot, and like, I'm done, Dad. Like, I can't quit on my own, tears, the whole deal. And same thing. They're like, we don't know how to help you, son, but we're going to.
Yeah.
And I think even for anyone listening, like maybe it isn't your parents, maybe it's the close sibling or, the mentor outside of family, whoever it is. But I think everyone's got that person they can reach out to. And if you're struggling, just do it. Because if they can't directly help you, they're going to point you in the right direction, right? That's what it's about. Especially like, look, I'm fucking dying here. Like, I don't know what to do anymore. So good on you, man. I'm glad you made that call, and I want to touch on this though, Bales, because I know a little bit about this story. When I first met you, you had lost someone really close to you, man. And I want to know how that shaped the early part of your recovery. There had to have been temptations, man, to say, fuck it, I'm going back to this life. But I know you didn't. And was it motivating to you to say, I'm not just doing this for myself, but for one of my best friends?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was here in October. Like, it's only a couple months ago, man. And yeah, I have like a little plaque. My wife made it for me. It's pretty nice. But yeah, it's just his name was Baden Boyanko. Played, like, literally, we went to elementary school together. Weren't like the greatest of friends, but like we definitely played hockey together, and stuff like that. Ran in sort of the same schools, but it was only up until he started playing lacrosse when we were real tight. And even in high school, when we started, he got really good really quick. Like this kid could shoot the ball 400 miles an hour, and I'm not shitting you. Yeah. And like, this is his second year in, right? And like, just the skill that he had, it was immense, right? But anyways, I'm getting aside from the fact. Yeah, I lost him in a car accident, you know, a single car rollover. He was going to the mine where he was working, and just like, man, it was just such a shock. I remember one of my other buddies that he called me, and he's like, it's like 6 in the morning, and I'm off work that day, thank God. You know, and I pick it up, and he's like, hey, like, did you hear about Baden? I'm like, well, what are you talking about? You know, and he's like, okay, well, I think his cousin just called me and all this stuff, right? And it took a while, like, for us to actually figure out what happened, because he was driving down to the mine in Rokenville. Spy Hill was right where it happened. And yeah, so it was very tough. It was just like, it was more of a shock, like, and it just sucks, especially now, because like I didn't get to see him a lot. Like I had to change my places, people, and things when I was trying to get clean, man. And I didn't get to see him a whole hell of a lot. And like, you know, he was just doing drinking and dabbled sometimes. It's you know, you just have to change that. Anyways, so, you know, he was just really happy for me and trying to get it back together so that he could see me, you know. And I was trying to shelter myself a lot, but I also like really cherish some of those friendships, you know. And like lots of the guys that I used with, they didn't have that issue like me where they could stop. I didn't have a stop off valve, like a shut off valve. I just kept it going. And, you know, I think they maybe didn't understand or something like that. But man, like, it just sucks because I didn't see him. And anyways, yeah, it was a shock, man. I did have some, but fuck, I found a higher power, you know. Like, I was born and raised Catholic. I'm married in the Catholic Church and stuff. So the God word is a very big thing for me. It's never like I was resentful towards it for some time, right?
For sure.
Especially this, like, you're taking away one of my best friends that's been there, and like, fuck, we were close, dude. And it's just unfair. But at that time, it's like, am I really going to go back and use because of this and because my best friend was taken away from me? And I think that was where I started to like lose that self-centered nature of this disease. Like, again, I struggle with it every day, but it's not, that was like the first time where maybe I recognized that, okay, this is like something bigger. Like, me doing this is not going to do anything for anybody, nor for myself. You know, it's already hard on everybody. Like, this young guy just lost his life in a tragic accident. You know, maybe a moose was there and he swerved, whatever the case may be. I don't know the details. It's tragic. And I want to say I used it more as motivation. And again, at this time, man, I am a chronic relapser, like chronic. I am going and like, I'm just doing the weirdest shit. Like, my wife has drug test strips at home to test me when I'm doing cocaine and not telling her. I have an at-home breathalyzer, like, you know, and it's like, you've been out drinking. No, I haven't. Oh yeah, take it now. So it's like, there's so much stuff up till this point where I want to say it was more motivation for me, not like I wasn't going to use it as a excuse. And I would like to think that he's looking down, like really proud of me, but man, I have some regret and some guilt. You know, I didn't see him a lot and it sucks, like, for sure. But, you know, life goes on. I'm still like, I haven't seen his mom and his dad and his brother. His brother plays down south in the States, plays field lacrosse there. I haven't seen them in so long. Just like, you know, my routine. I keep my routine and I try my best not to feel the stuff that I don't want to feel, you know, especially like that. Like, I'm putting myself in that. I'm not very comfortable with feelings still, like, and I struggle with it. But like I said, thank goodness for a higher power, man. And I was like able to pray for the first time and like actually feel something, whatever it was. I don't know. It's clearly helping me still. But again, it's like, one day at a time. I heard DJ say it right off the bat. It's just one day at a time, man. And that's all. And that is what I did for the start of, like, especially those first 30 days, man. They go pretty quick, but just one day at a time, man. And this happened like 10 days into this recent stint. Like, this was a perfect reason for me to sabotage and go back into it. But like, for whatever reason, I didn't. So yeah.
Bales, man, I'm fucking proud of you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for sharing that, man. I know it's not easy.
Not
and like
easy.
that, yeah, you just said it. Like, it would have been a valid reason. Like, a lot of people may have not judged you because of having to go through that, but you persevered, man. And that's, yeah, I think there's a spiritual side to, again, not to downplay the loss of a buddy, but how it helped you turn the corner, man. Like, you can use that.
And Bales, don't you? Sorry, G.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Bales, don't you think everything that you've been through, like, you've been through hell and back, everything that you've been through in this major thing with your friend? I'm sorry, obviously, to hear that, and G Bones too. It's terrible, terrible. Do you think you have a little bit of motivation because of everything you've been through? You know, you could have, like you said, you could have relapsed, you could have threw in the towel, but do you think now you're a little stronger mind? Do you ever think about that? Maybe it's the first time a man's saying that to you, man. You're fucking strong, dude, minded. And do you think that everything that you have been through personally, life obviously happens, are uncontrollables, right? Such as this big event. Do you think you've gained a lot of knowledge and a lot, like, you know what to do now?
Appreciate for that compliment, man.
Of course, dude.
I don't take compliments very well. I try and be as humble as I can, you know, because, like, none of us are perfect.
Yeah.
I struggled with perfectionism like all my life, right? Trying to be that. Today I'm okay with it, like, not being perfect, but I definitely strive for that. But yeah, like you were just saying, like, that strong-mindedness, man. I think that strong-mindedness kept me in my addiction for a long time. And there's a certain fellow that I reach out to quite a bit. He told, and this is like right where I'm starting to reach out to him more and more. And like, my mom knows him too. And my mom's pretty tight with me right now. And she would reach out to him, and it's like, why is he still relapsing? Like, I don't get it. And he's like, man, he told my mom that he's a strong kid. And like, he's not giving up that will to think that he can control it still. Like, right. And he was just like, it's just going to take a little bit here for him to realize that he needs to surrender a little bit more at each and every day. And man, it wasn't very long after that I figured it out, or I just realized, like, I can't do this by myself, you know, and I can't control it, and that's okay. I think ever since that moment when I realized that, like, everything in my life has started to get better. Again, like, I am not saying that I am this pinnacle of perfection here. I make so many mistakes every day. But with that being said, man, my overall mental health around just like my life has skyrocketed through. Like,
fucking love that, dude.
Like this, like, serenity prayer, dude. You know, like, grant me serenity, control the things I can't control.
Yep.
See,
Wisdom to know the difference, brother.
Wisdom to know the difference. Thank you, G. You know, I say that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, I'm not gonna, you know, like, when you're driving, like, this idiot on the road, like, fucking, and you get yourself so worked up, but it's like, dude, you don't really know what that guy's going through today. Maybe he's not worried. Like, there's something that is valid for that stupidity, whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
But that was probably a terrible example, but
right, no, it's good,
man. How powerful is that? Just bring it back a little bit. What I got about this is how your mom, how you have someone in your family circle, let's say, because your mom knows this individual that you reach out to. I think that is fucking powerful, because your mom obviously loves you guys are close, is going to that individual and she's asking questions. I think that's brave enough. I think that's mental health in general for a mom to ask help. Instead, there's a lot of parents out there who knows that their kid is struggling. Why is my daughter relapsing? What the fuck do we do? Start freaking out. No, she went and asked help from a good source. And what he said to your mom is fucking powerful. He's a strong-minded kid. His time will come. A little more surrendering, and his time will come. Look what just happened.
Yeah.
I think that is powerful. I think that is so beautiful in sense. That's all about vulnerability. That's all about is the point of asking for help. And now look where he is now. And I know you touched on that you still have trouble sitting with your feelings. I was there too, man. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, it does get easier. I still sit in my feelings sometimes. We're so used to being a man, an alpha, trying to figure it out on our own. Hell, try freezing our feelings with drugs and alcohol. That's what us three did. Anything come to us, we froze our feelings with drugs and alcohol. And I'm going to tell you, man, it takes time. Yeah. It does get easier with my feelings because I pick up my phone and I call and I'm getting better. I still work on dealing with my feelings and stuff. And like you said, perfectionism. I know I'm not perfect, but fuck, I know I'm doing something right in this world. Man, just honestly, dude, just keep going because those feelings and the more support you have, hell, I know this right here is going to help you out because there's now your story's out there. Now you're being vulnerable. There's going to be people that are going to be reaching out to you. And now you have a sense of fucking purpose, which we all need in this recovery world, right, G?
100%. Yeah, man. And I'm just so grateful you came on today and got honest with what's been going on. And again, congrats on the 6 months.
Appreciate it.
Huge milestone, man. Just like everyone talks about the first 30 days, your hardest, or the first year. 6 months is it's a big deal because you're kind of like, you're not, that first year is obviously the big one, but you're halfway home, but also some really good recovery. And they talk about these promises, like, some come back slowly and some quickly. And that's been my experience as well, right? You're getting stuff back early, you're starting to have a purpose again. I'm just really proud of you, dude. So thank you.
Appreciate it, fellas.
Yeah, one final question for you I like to ask my guests because I think it's just powerful. I want to go back into a time of your life where you were struggling, where you could picture yourself maybe in your room. You said you like to isolate a lot and you're struggling and no one knows. You said your mom kind of had a little bit of sniff, but you're sitting by yourself when you're going through your darkest moment. Now, Bales, now you know how powerful it is to speak up and you know the knowledge you know now. Let's say you could go back and see that 15, 16 or 17-year-old Baeley or whenever you're going through, what's something that you could say and look at him and be like, hey, dude.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Man, like, I just kind of always go back on, like, you're not alone. I think that was my biggest thing is, like, I'm unique, right? Nobody experiences this stuff that I feel or that I'm experiencing. I'm very unique. I'm the only one, when that is the farthest thing from the truth. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Maybe that's not the greatest thing, but I would probably follow it up with, like, it's okay, like, and it's gonna be okay, right? Whenever you are ready, there's gonna be people here for you. I'm gonna be there for you, whether I just met you or whatever, because and I think this is, like, the greatest thing about this disease almost. Like, I kind of thrive on, like, whenever I meet guys who are vulnerable and then they tell me, it's like, I struggle with it too, man. It's like, me too.
Yeah.
And we have, like, this instant connection of, like, because it's like you felt the things that I've felt of, and then used whatever to numb them. I've done the same thing. It's just like a weird connection in that sense. But back to the question, like, yeah, you're not alone. It's gonna be okay. And we're gonna figure it out. It's just gonna take some hard work, some patience, and some trust a little bit, I think, like, and that's what I struggle with too, is the trusting the process, right? People say trust the process a lot. Yeah. This is the same deal, I think, right? Like, I've reached out to a lot of people, figured out a way that is working for me, and it's just a matter of, like, me now. Like, I need to do the work. Nobody can do it for me, and especially growing up, I didn't really have to do a whole lot of work to get the things that I wanted, right? Lots of things were easy. So I can honestly say that this is, like, the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but probably the most rewarding, though, man. Like, yeah, going from bottom, and, like, I didn't lose a lot, like, physically, materially. Like, thank goodness for my wife, man. She's like the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, I think, because could ask a lot of women about her story and they would be like, you're insane for staying with this guy. But, like, thank goodness, man, that she saw something in me. And it's crazy. Just like you were saying, the gifts. Mm-hmm. man, I have a lot of things that are slowly coming back, right? But I didn't lose a whole lot. But man, are those things like better than ever these days. Like my home life is fantastic. Like legit, my relationship with my wife has never been better. Again, I'm like out of my own head and stuck out of my own ways, right? And just like the ability to communicate, have some open-mindedness, honesty, and just like willingness to keep her going, you know, and just have this better life.
Yeah, dude, this is why we do it, man. Hearing stories like yourself, I get butterflies. I relate. G-Bones could probably relate. Like stories, when people be vulnerable, because you and I back in the day, we don't talk about this shit, especially us men. But man, if one person would have talked about this, like it's such powerful stuff. Hearing your story, I know I'm doing the right thing just by hearing your story, and I'm so fucking proud of you, man. Like 6 months in, I know, but I'm a big believer, man, that I'm thankful in a way I went through what I went through, because I wouldn't be the man who I am now. Being a giver and knowing mental health, I'm thankful I went through that to find the person who I am now today. I'm a big believer on that, man. And for yourself, man, you said you have the perfect family dynamics back in your back, and you appreciate those things more because of what you've been through. So, man, hats off to you. I think I've gained a brother in my life, because whoever is being vulnerable and you're 6 months into it, man, it's hard. It's tough to talk, to be vulnerable about that. But, man, just so you know, you have me and G-Bones. I have your back, and whatever comes your way, because we've been there and we're fucking proud of you, dude.
Yeah,
I appreciate.
For sure, man. And just, one last thing, like DJ said, this podcast, every guest we have on, we don't necessarily each know them well, but it's like, it becomes a brotherhood. Like I feel the guys I didn't know that have come on, brothers, DJ just touched on this connection he has with you. That's another element to this, man. It's a band of brothers, a sisterhood, the whole deal. And the one piece you shared, man, it's cliche, but I love it, is just like, this is the hardest thing. I'll speak for all of us, the hardest thing we've ever fucking done. Unarguably the best thing, right? Yeah. And I loved how you can define that now. You've experienced it, brother.
Yeah, that state of gratitude, man. Like, holy, it's a powerful thing. Just being grateful for just like the simple things. Sun shining today, right? Like, let's go.
And honestly, man, before I let you go, before we wrap up here, next time I talk to you, I'm obviously going to get your number and everything. I want you to try, because I could just having this conversation, try your best to get back into the lacrosse.
Yeah.
Your story and everything. I've been in the hockey game, Bones coaching. Now we need guys like yourself in these dressing rooms to take care of these kids by using your past. So don't let that voice. I'm a big believer on that, because I still work on that too, man. But honestly, it seems like you're passionate something, but take your time on it. It's not you do it like that. Take your time, man, because A, you deserve to get back in the game, and B, you could help out a lot of kids.
Yeah, appreciate that. And like, I don't think it's going anywhere, right? So it's not like I'm out of it with the officiating part, but it, like you said, there's a lot of, especially my wife, she didn't have me for a lot of years, and like she even says this to me, it's like I don't even know you. Yeah. Like these last 6 months, she's like, you're pretty awesome, but like it's crazy because I don't really even know you right now, because just like how I act and my behavior. But I appreciate that. It's something I've loved. Kids are great, man. They run you up the wall sometimes.
Yeah. But no, Bales, we definitely appreciate this, man. This has definitely been a great episode. This is episode 10 after Away from the Rink podcast. We've had 10 guests on, and I think everyone could relate. We always ask what they feel like after they surrender, after they tell everybody, and it's always at the end of the day, it's going to be okay. Every one of our guests said it's going to be okay. So if any of you guys out there that are struggling right now, please pick up that phone and please ask for help. If you think you cannot do it, all it could take is that one conversation. That one conversation. I'm going to bring it back to Mr. Walsh every time. That might be my favorite quote. That phone could weigh 30 pounds. Yeah. But asking for help, surrendering could be a game changer. After hearing Bailey's story, after knowing Gio's story, that one conversation did save all of our lives. So this is what it's all about. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to have a bad day. But pick up your phone and call for help, because us men have feelings to do. Happy Easter, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.